Okay, here's warm-up number 44. On this first problem, I'm supposed to find the measure of AD. So AD is this piece. Okay, now the key here is that I can see those two segments are congruent because they both have measures of 8.4. And then also this line is perpendicular to this line. So this is this line here going through the middle, this ray actually, is the perpendicular bisector of this line. So that means that any point on this green line should be equidistant from points A and C. It should be the same distance from point A as it is from point C. So point D, hey, that's on that line, so that means it's going to be the same distance from A to D as it is from C to D. So hey, if this is 20, this is 20. Something maybe that you could have figured out intuitively, but what we actually use there is the perpendicular bisector theorem. Because it also asks what theorem is used. Okay, next up, we're looking for the length of segment GJ. These should really have the little lines above here. Okay, so GJ, that is this one. Okay, and just this is really the same idea as the last problem. This time I can see that this line is the perpendicular bisector of the bottom of the bigger triangle. So that means any point on that line should be the same distance from these two points. So that's going to be true, again, by the perpendicular bisector theorem. That's how I can say that those two are congruent. Okay, and now I can use the fact that these are congruent to solve for x. So 4x plus 5 is going to equal 2x plus 11. Okay, and then let's see, I'll subtract 2x from both sides to get the x's together. And I'll subtract 5. And divide by 2. Okay, so that's what x equals. It's tempting to put that as my answer, but it's asking me for the length of this pink segment here. So I need to plug 3 back in there. So I'm going to do 2. Segment GJ is going to have a length of 2 times 3 plus 11. So that's going to be 6 plus 11, which is 17. So final answer there is 17, not 3. 3 is what x is. 17 is what that segment is. Okay? All right, next up. These two angles at the bottom are congruent. So that means that this line, I'll try to be consistent with these colors. This line is the angle bisector of the bigger angle. And that means that any point on that green line should be the same distance from the two sides of the angle. So point Q, for example, should be the same distance to this side of the angle as it is from that side. And when I'm saying distance, I mean the shortest distance, the perpendicular distance. So, moral of the story here, those two segments are congruent. And PQ, hey, that's that piece, that's what I'm looking for. What I used there is the angle bisector theorem. Okay, and then this one's kind of the reverse of the same idea. So if you look at this, this line here, I can see that it's the same distance from the two sides of the angle. And that means that this has to be the angle bisector. Okay, so notice on the last one we started with the green one being marked as the angle bisector. Here we didn't. So this is actually the converse of the angle bisector theorem, because we're using that same idea backwards. Okay, and now I can write an equation to solve for x. Okay, so let's do that. 3x plus 8 is going to equal 5x minus 12. And I'll subtract 3x from both sides. And I'll add 12 to both sides. And divide by 2, so 20 divided by 2 is 10. So there's x, but it's not asking me for x, it's asking me for DGF. DGF. Oh, hey, that's the big angle, so it's asking me for this. Okay. Now there's two ways that I could do that. I could plug in 10 into both these places and then add them together. But since those are congruent, they should come out the same, these two angles here. So I can just find one of them and double it. I'll just plug it in both places though to make sure that I got the same, that I got the right x value and that everything's going well. So this would be 38 degrees. This is 38 degrees in here. I'm thinking this one come out to 38 as well. Let's try it. 5 times 10 minus 12. That's 50 minus 12. Okay, that's 38 as well. Okay, so now angle DGF, I can just add 38 plus 38. And it's going to be 76. And since it's a measure of an angle, you want the symbol as your final answer. Okay, that's the end of the warm-up. See you next time.